Coming up next, it's the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We're live on April 1st. It's a Wednesday. It's Hump Day. AEW Dynamite is coming up in just a few minutes. Well, about 59 minutes or so, but we've got a lot to talk about. A full preview of all of the championship matchups at WrestleMania 36 this Saturday and Sunday, all weekend long. We've got the hot news. We look at what you're going to see tonight on AEW as well. We are joined by the associates all over the United States, Josh Chernoff.
Whoops. April Fools.
Andrew Ray, and the man they call Meathead. We will we're live, folks. We're waiting to hear your comments on social media, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and of course, Facebook Live, and our broadcast partner, Fight TV, who had huge news yesterday that we're going to share with you as well. The Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Live, not Inside Story of Wrestling, starts in just a moment. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Live. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius the Tiberius, the alleged backyard, one-time, knockout, straight edge, draft losing, Hall of Famer hero. David, how the heck are you on a Wednesday?
I was doing great until I got that jabroni type of an intro. That was terrible.
Well, you did lose the draft, the PWR draft, every time it happened, right?
Years ago. We haven't had a draft in forever.
You brought it up on Monday. You brought it up on Reaction last night. Yeah.
Yeah, but because we have another one, and that one I should absolutely...
The one we haven't announced yet? Much like your premature announcement. What are you trying to prove, that you know stuff?
I know a lot of stuff.
Oh, you do. On Monday, you slipped and released some hot news before it was hot news on Tuesday morning.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
I want to be accurate, and that's what makes this show different, ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear about your beloved Fox News that may not survive this coronavirus situation?
Who got infected now?
There's a class action lawsuit being developed for their misinformation they spread about the virus before it became the thing that it is.
So they spoiled? Spoiler alert?
No, they took a different approach.
And why is it my Fox News?
You watch them, don't you?
I watch everything because that's how I gather all of my information. I watch Chet Lemon on CNN.
Folks, his name is Don Lemon, and we would like to remind you to like us if you're watching on Facebook right now. Thank you to all of our new viewers on Facebook. Record viewership for Monday's live edition of the broadcast. We want to welcome all of you for joining us here live on Wednesday. Also on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you never miss a broadcast of the Pro Wrestling Report. We are right now receiving your comments on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook Live, and in the Fight TV chat room. Active chatters right now: Chris O'Donohue, Kat Gerhart, Martin Duffin, Bill Streeter, Charlie Gonzalez. Welcome all of you watching live here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. But of course, David, as you know, we are joined as always by our tremendous team of analysts. We've got Andrew. How are things up in Minneapolis, Minnesota tonight?
They're as good as can be, I can guess, right?
That is one hell of a report.
Nothing's changed. I mean, we're all inside. We're all watching television. We're all trying to get, I guess, outside as much as you possibly can, but just hanging in there. Hope everybody else is too. Stay safe, everybody.
And welcome back to the man they call Meathead. Meathead, you look very stoic tonight. I mean, okay, good. There's movement.
Stoic, is that good? Is that a good thing? I mean, how's that?
Welcome back. How are things up in Appleton?
Appleton, Appleton Wiss, for those that don't know, 30 minutes away from Lambeau Field. We're waiting to get outside, too. It's starting to warm up.
And is Cousin Larry up there anywhere?
Cousin Larry lives down at the old the fishing hole there.
Cousin Larry Appleton?
Yes. That's how to get the fish fries.
And Josh Chernoff. Josh, thank you very much for joining us. There's you and Meathead. Philadelphia. Yeah. Philadelphia is where, wasn't that part of the Fresh Prince opening?
That was the
West Philadelphia. Born
No. Philadelphia is where I used to go be back in my days or something. Do you remember the theme, Josh?
West Philadelphia, born and raised on playgrounds where I spent most of my days. Max and relaxing. We don't have
got some hood in you, huh?
But yeah, you have to know that if you live within a 30-mile radius of Philadelphia. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to all of you for joining us. And wow, some huge, it's a huge week in wrestling. It's WrestleMania week.
It is, and it's. Did you do something to my microphone? Is
No.
this like one of your jokes or something?
No, not at all. It's perfectly fine.
Are you sure?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, okay. Just making sure, because I can barely hear myself sometimes.
Well, maybe if you listen to yourself, then you would.
That gets me in trouble. But no, it's almost we're 3.5 days away from WrestleMania.
From the beginning of WrestleMania, yes.
From the beginning, 2 nights of 8.5 hours a night. Is that what it is?
It's advertised for 3.5.
Yeah, but there's pre-shows, there's warm-ups, there's our post-show. That's going to be at least 4 hours.
Well, folks, we are here to preview WrestleMania. As we did this past Monday, we looked at the women's matchups. Well, tonight we are going to talk through the championship matchups, and there are so many of them. First, we're going to talk about on the Smackdown side of things for the tag team championships. It will be the endorsed Miz teaming up with John Morrison to take on the New Day and the Usos, a 6-man tag team championship ladder match. David,
Yes.
This one's going to be fun.
You think so?
Yeah.
All 6 of those guys in a big ladder match?
The Miz, the Usos, John Morrison, the New Day. Look at that realm of talent you got. And by the way, the Usos, I know in my mind, are quickly becoming one of my favorite tag teams of all time. And I can't articulate it very well, but they just are.
Well, I think it's because
From day one,
you spent time with their brother, Sepha.
No, that had nothing to do with it.
No?
He's a great guy as well.
The Usos have come a long way. From the first time we saw them on Raw, when they came down with Tamina against the New Heart Foundation, weren't too sure how that was all going to play out. But now the Usos, main event tag team matches nonstop. New Day, the former world champion Kofi Kingston's going to be in there. You got The Miz and John Morrison, the current champs. It's basically a coin flip because all 3 teams are very equal. I mean, but you almost have to go with The Miz and Morrison, wouldn't you? I mean, you have to keep those heels going so those babies can keep chasing them.
Well, let's go around the horn and find out what the analysts think. Josh Sherdoff, tag team turmoil at SmackDown Championship, is on the line.
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing all kinds of rumors of how that match is actually going to play out. But if it were to be,
trying to remember, we're a spoiler-free zone.
That's what I'm just saying. We're hearing rumors, but if it goes the way that it's being presented, which I hope it does, you can't go wrong with that. There's not a single weak link in those 3 teams. So I'm looking forward to it. And if I had to pick a winner, honestly, I could see New Day getting those titles back.
All right. So you like the Bootios. Andrew.
100%.
Yeah, Damien, there's no debate. The Usos are the best tag team the WWE's had for the past 10 years. I've loved everything that they've basically put out when they're healthy. I think this match is going to steal the show. I know Edge and Orton might be on this day, but I enjoy the 6 competitors that are going to be in this match, and I do believe that the Usos will walk out your new tag team champions.
And the man they call Meathead. What do you think about this tag team action?
You know, I remember years and years ago how we used to just kind of rag on the tag team division that there wasn't really tag team wrestling. They have in the last 5, almost 10 years, really put together a division. Now it's this, a culmination of bringing in all this talent. But the Usos finally feel like a team. Damien, I understand where you say you can't articulate it well enough, but they feel like a team. They look like a team. They're not individual wrestlers right now. They are the Usos. So that's why they feel like, they may win it, but honestly, I see them keeping it on Miz and Morrison.
Well, a variety of opinions. The Miz is endorsed, and I would have to agree and say that he and Morrison are going to keep is it copper or gold now?
It's the big
Silver.
ones.
Those are silver.
Oh, they're silver now again. Yeah, they lost the Trojan coins.
Trojan man. Well, WrestleMania continues, and there are more championship matchups. And this, another women's matchup, a tag team championship match, as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross will take on the Kabuki Warriors. And you talk about the Kabuki quite a bit
I love
on this
Kabuki.
show.
Kabuki is important. It's a main part of shenanigans, and you can't go wrong without some Kabukiness.
I don't even know what you just said.
I just told you who's going to win.
Oh, the Kabuki Warriors, in your opinion.
Absolutely.
All right.
We missed for everybody.
Meathead, Kabuki Warriors or Bliss and Cross? What do you got?
You know, and I just got done saying how they've been doing great with these tag team divisions. Here's the tag team division that they created and then just forgot about. But, WrestleMania is coming up and we need a match. So, Kabuki Warriors.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Kabuki Warriors on this one. I don't see the steam that Bliss and Nikki Cross have, and I'm just going to stick with the hot hand with the Kabuki Warriors on this one.
All right, well, Joshua.
I'm also gonna say Kabuki Warriors. I think the Alexa Bliss Nikki Cross thing they haven't really put anything behind that lately. So maybe it's time to kind of have them turn on each other or something. What?
How did they get there? How did they become the number one contenders for the tag team?
They brought it up on a Moment of Bliss before the guest came out. Alexa Bliss was like, oh yeah, the Kabuki Warriors are supposed to be defending on both brands, and they're not. And that's the last I remember them talking about it, and then there was just a match.
They need to bring
so
back
really
the
well done.
Iconics. That's who they need.
Yes.
Can you imagine the
They were
promos between the Iconics and the Kabuki Warriors?
You know what I'd like to see, though? I'd like to see Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka end up as a tag team. They would dominate a tag division.
Is that an April Fool's?
What are you whooping for?
Oh, where did Sherlock go?
We just want two of Drew.
Drew, 2 times.
What are you doing?
man.
It's April Fool's, but you're shenaniganizing.
You know what? There's all these buttons over here, and there's things buzzing, and I didn't mean to hit that one.
Uh-huh.
I'm serious. Can you fix that? Or
I
no?
can't fix nothing. I'm not. You know what? There's a one way to fix a child's problems.
I love shiny toys.
And the one way to fix a child's problems is not to acknowledge them. Thank you for joining us live, folks, all over the world, including on Fight TV. And we're talking about WrestleMania. Big news dropped from Fight just yesterday. Fight TV is now going to be offering both nights of WrestleMania 36. That's at Fight.tv in the United States and in most countries around the world. Another way to watch WrestleMania, David.
And Fight is going to have amazing coverage because we're going to be giving them lots of coverage.
Yes.
We're giving post shows, reactions, you name it. It's going to be a PWR WWE Wrestlemania filled weekend.
Well, a lot of extra programming available for you. We're going to be doing reaction, as you said, David, on Friday night after SmackDown, Saturday night after WrestleMania 36.1, and Sunday night after WrestleMania 36.2. And you never know when, over the course of the weekend, we may show up just, live with breaking news or stories or
Why
updates.
not? I mean, you're home. Just just make sure that you subscribe to all of our stuff, and something's going to pop up.
Something will indeed pop up, and we don't know which night these matches are going to pop up on WrestleMania, but we do know that the Intercontinental Championship will be on the line when Daniel Bryan goes up against the champion, the also endorsed Sami Zayn. You don't like Sami.
No,
I can tell by your face.
No. I love Sami. I think he's fantastic. He gets great heat. He legit annoys me by his antics. But he's awesome at it. So it's like I love him for that, but I can't stand him for it at the same time. Daniel Bryan is just, his stock has dropped.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, like, you go from heavyweight title match with Kofi Kingston to now Intercontinental title match with Sami Zayn. And it's like Daniel Bryan's now chasing again. He's not the guy that he's going to put somebody over. But I'm sure he will be putting over Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn needs to beat Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Sami Zayn endorsed and winning, according to the man on my left. And let's find out what the analysts think. The Associates, Josh Chernoff, Intercontinental Championship on the line.
Yeah, first off, I'm hoping that you're actually looking at me this time.
Yes.
But,
Beard,
okay.
AEW tie. That's gimmick.
I think this match could end up actually being the match of the night, depending on what night it's on. But these guys have the ability to have a real like mat classic that could be one of the ones where you're not as turned off by the fact that there's no audience. This could be one where you're really watching. It reminds you more of watching like an amateur wrestling match. So I think this could be a really good match. I do agree. Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn's going to retain the title. I do have one question for you guys, though. We're saying we don't know what night anything's going to be on. It looks like they're mixing things. Wouldn't it have been a no-brainer for Raw on one night and SmackDown on another night? Because I believe there's still a brand extension. I mean, that could change at any minute, but isn't that just like common sense, no-brainer, Raw one night, SmackDown another night?
Yeah, but if you do that, then you're saying that whoever headlines Sunday is the main brand, wouldn't you say?
It depends. I mean, you could... I think Sunday's going to be the one. If you look at Raw, like look at their hours. The first hour is always the most, and then second hour, and then the third hour. So in a lot of ways, people might say after watching on Saturday, they might say, I'm not really going to check out Sunday. I don't really care as much. Like I'm all WrestleMania'd out. So I don't know. I mean, it's.
I think the brand splitting the nights makes a ton of sense. But if they're going to give us 2 5-hour nights, I'm tapping after Saturday. I'm sorry.
Tapping midway through Saturday.
That's.
Not Drew. I know he'll watch all 37 hours of
it. Good point, Josh. But the Intercontinental Championship match is the discussion at hand. Sami Zayn, the Daniel Bryan. Who you got, Andrew?
I think history is doomed to repeat itself. Daniel Bryan main evented WrestleMania 30. He opened 31 with an Intercontinental Championship win in a ladder match, and I think that's what we're going to see. I think this match opens one of the nights, and I do believe that Daniel Bryan gets the win.
All right.
I can't wait to hear the yes chant.
Do they do that anymore?
Well, if it's gonna be virtual, all those little screens going like this.
That's what Drew Gulak's for.
That is a good point.
You know, that is the one guy that has benefited from all this has been Drew, because him now with Daniel Bryan, it elevated his stock. He now means so much more than he did even 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Be careful what you wish for. You might get that yes chant. They might have fans during entrances on those little screens.
I pray to God they do, because that will look fantastic. And it's going to make for great TV. You could have 12 people on 12 different screens going like this.
Well, maybe you will. You could have 12 people on 3 different screens. You like that?
The more people, the merrier.
We've got a lot of Drew on a lot of screens.
Right?
That's a good.
Well, you know, he reworked his contract earlier today, and that was a provision: is two squares for Drew at all times. Apparently,
he deserves
got
it.
A good agent.
It was only for the first few minutes of the first segment.
Is it musical squares now?
No, it's Connect Four. What was the Hollywood Squares?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite game shows.
That's a good show.
The later version.
Oh, really? The original was way better.
Not with Chris Valanche. Not Chris Valanche. What was
Who hosted?
Nelson? Charles Nelson Riley.
Okay, yep.
You know the ascot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
WrestleMania discussion continues, and we're hearing and looking at many of your comments from the social channels right now, and we'll get to those in just a moment. A lot of comments, actually. We'll get to them right now. We'll get a lot of comments on the matchup between Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn. And first, we have Raina Wright on YouTube, who says, I hope that Sami versus Daniel Bryan will be a clinic, but I have a horrible feeling. It's a great point. Those two can go, David.
And they're both equally matched. They both have that Ring of Honor pedigree. And I think this is the first time they're both going to be having a one-on-one match together, probably since back when they're in Ring of Honor. This is going to be a match that the purest wrestling fans are going to love and talk about for quite a while.
Another question we'll throw out to the analysts is from Everything Pro Wrestling. Will they let Sami Zayn wrestle on Mania? Wrestle. I mean, let him go do what he does in the ring. And I think there could be a bit of a challenge here, because Sami has been nursing a shoulder injury for the last few weeks, if not months. But boys, what do you guys think? Josh, Sami Zayn, is he going to be allowed to go against Daniel Bryan?
Like I was saying before, I mean, barring injuries, I mean, that you know, who knows? But I think absolutely he has to. Like I said before, this match is the one match on the card, on both cards, that really looks like it could be just a catch as catch can amateur style wrestling match and to waste it with haha, as they say, I think it just that, a waste. So I'm hoping they're going to allow him to wrestle and really shine. And I think that if you're going to have the manager of this group be the champion and be the one wrestling at WrestleMania, you kind of have to show everybody, hey, remember, he's an amazing wrestler.
The man they call Meathead.
As much as I want to see that as well, I don't see it happening. I see that it ends up being, as Josh said, the ha-ha match. I find shenanigans happening all throughout this match. Now, yes, Sammy can wrestle, and yes, we want to see him wrestle, but how much will they let him go, especially if he's nursing that shoulder?
And Andrew.
If you look at Daniel Bryan's opponents since he's come back from his injury, he seems like he's handpicked people, and I think they're going to let Sammy wrestle this one. I think it would be an injustice not to.
Well, thank you for those points. Sammy is excellent. Daniel is excellent. And, keep in mind, there's some people going with the news they've read that, well, WrestleMania is already taped. So if Daniel Bryan is in quarantine, then maybe he already participated in his matchup. But Daniel Bryan did also say recently that he was not sure how much longer he'd be wrestling full time.
Isn't his wife pregnant again?
Is she?
I believe so. Aren't both
Yes.
Bella twins?
Yes,
That's
both
why
of them
he's
are.
so
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
Mayhaps it is. WrestleMania
I can attest.
continues, folks. And the next match we want to talk about is for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And this one got interesting this past Monday night as we saw Austin Theory, who has, of course, been in NXT for actually a short period of time, get called up to stand in this matchup. He will be now going after the Tag Team Championships with Angel Garza against the Street Profits.
First of all, he's with Zelina Vega. So that right there gives him instant street cred with me. Interesting match because you're throwing two guys together to go against the Tag Team Champions and the Street Profits. You almost have to believe the Street Profits are going to leave WrestleMania still the Tag Team Champions. They're the established team. Austin Theory, maybe or maybe not, missed a spot on Raw.
But that was taped.
Where Montez Ford crashed and burned on his back.
But that was taped, so they deliberately aired it.
Well, they had to. They had to put it in.
Why'd they have to? They could have easily edited that out.
I don't know.
So the point I make is the fact that they chose to air that missed spot. WWE would never air a missed spot.
But it looked
So
good.
why did they air a missed spot?
Because it looked good.
It did look dang good.
That's why you leave it in. No one knows if it's missed or not. You have to think because who would ever take that bump on purpose? I would hope nobody would. But the Street Profits, they got that, como se dice, smoke behind them. And that smoke's going to keep taking them all the way through.
What do you mean by
WrestleMania.
what smoke?
They talk about smoke all the time.
Well, they're
they
always
want-
asking for the smoke.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
Yeah.
necessarily
We
have
want
it, but
the smoke.
they're looking for it. Yeah.
What is
They
that,
desperately
Cal?
want the smoke.
What does that mean, having the smoke?
It means they want the fight.
That's not what the kids... Oh, you know?
That's why you're
Gotta stay hip, man. Gotta stay
Hey,
hip. Gotta stay
you're
hip.
getting bumped again.
Drew's all about that smoke.
I want all the smoke. That means he wants all of it. Whatever you got, I want all of it.
Fascinating. Okay.
How do you not?
I've never heard that term before in my life.
Not
I'm not
even-
a cool kid. I'm a wise man. Folks, the next championship matchup we want to talk about is for the well, actually, we didn't go around the room for the tag team championship matchup. So, Andrew, why don't you give us your thoughts? Street Profits and against Garza in Theory.
I'll keep it quick. Street Profits.
In other words, you don't care about this match?
I do. Austin Theory's got a lot of hype behind him. I don't know what it is yet. I got to watch more of him, but I think he's, I'll leave that for the internet to let me know why he's so good. I've only seen him in one match. So
Joshua.
Well, I'll make it long. I think the Street Profits. I do think it's interesting though that Austin Theory. They just had him. He just lost to what's his name in NXT.
Exactly. You forgot who the guy was he lost to. It doesn't make a difference anymore.
Yeah, what's his name? Tyler Breeze. Lost to Tyler Breeze. So I think this was clearly a last-minute thing to throw him in there because they didn't really bring him in with a lot of, we'll say, smoke behind him.
Oh,
I think Street Profits.
All right, Meathead.
And, it's funny. I'm going to jump on what Josh said here. This is I'm going to call it the coronavirus match, as in this is just kind of what we're getting because, this isn't really what we had asked for. This isn't really what they had planned on. So this is the situation match, as in.
Clean it up.
I care,
please.
but I don't.
We're not saving you.
Sure, right?
I love this.
that guy.
Apparently somebody else.
Sure, the Street Profits. That's the team.
I like the Street Profits. I think that there's some opportunity there, David.
Okay.
You don't like him.
I do.
You don't like Austin Theory.
I do like Austin Theory.
You don't like Angel Garza. I'm asking these questions because clearly there's something about this match you don't like.
None of those four guys truly stand out to me. Montez Ford, if any of them, I think right now, I don't know that much about Austin Theory. Cosmetically, he looks like the real deal.
Only 22 years old, though, I believe. It could be too much too soon.
It could be. That's what happened with Cody. That's what happened with Drew McIntyre. A couple other
By
guys.
their own admissions.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Hey, do you guys remember when Angel Garza was posting pictures online kissing fans saying the coronavirus was a hoax?
Oh boy.
Just curious who remembers that.
So he's.
So I don't think he's gonna be kissing.
Meathead, do you want to cover that?
Yeah.
You know what? I will get to it. I'll get on my sources that do all the kissing news. So.
Well, now, hey.
Drew.
Folks, the WWE Championship will be on the line. It will be Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. And what a hell of a video we saw WWE release earlier this week telling us about Drew and his journey to the championship matchup. But he is going to get his big break in an empty arena against Brock Lesnar for the championship at WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to the match, David. It's going to be good, but...
It's going to be very physical. Unfortunately, there's going to be no oohs and ahs in the crowd to make all of that register and mean that much more. But you have to believe you've invested all the time, effort, and money into Drew McIntyre. He has to go over. But now with all the issues with Florida as far as programming... maybe you just don't have a finish to that match.
Really? Save it for SummerSlam.
Maybe you just do like a double count out or a DDQ or something where you bring it back as a last man standing match at SummerSlam.
Interesting. They could. And I never thought about how we're going to get to the point of what are they going to do and build for SummerSlam? Because as I believe you mentioned, Drew, recently on this broadcast, we're not sure what's going to happen with their television product after WrestleMania. So contingency plans are many.
If you want Drew McIntyre to get the big hero ovation that everybody wants him to have, it's a no finish. That way everyone stays strong. Both guys get more over. Both guys, you'll love this, took it to the max. And it just sets up another bigger rematch at SummerSlam where the fans can then be engaged.
Let's go around the horn and find out what you guys have to say about this matchup. Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar for the championship. Meathead, what do you say?
David Hero, fantastic point on that because, you think about Drew McIntyre and what sells it more than that final pyro scene from the top of the arena or whatever. This man has finally done it. He's finally reached the top. It's Michael Cole losing his voice at the end. That's not happening in this empty arena. It can't. It won't. So, Dave, great job. Yeah, I root for a no finish now. I root for it to be pushed off to when we can have an outdoor building or, SummerSlam's in LA this year, right?
Close.
Boston.
Okay, so LA, Boston, it's one of the coasts. I don't know. But, it has to be in front of people. So, push it in front of people.
Josh?
I have to agree with David as well. I think push it off. Honestly, I've been super excited for Drew to get this opportunity. I've mentioned before, I'll pick up that name that I dropped when we're off the air, but Drew is one of my oldest friends in the business, and I want to see him have that moment, and I'm worried that he's not going to have it. I would love to see this pushed off until SummerSlam. I would love to see a no finish. I don't want to see him lose clean to Lesnar because that takes away from from the excitement, because now you no longer think, hey, is this the guy who could knock off Lesnar? So, but I would like to see it dragged out or pushed off until SummerSlam. I agree.
And Andrew.
Yeah, I think it's a smart point by David. I think they should definitely hold off until there's a live crowd, and everybody else who touched on that as well. My only thing is, if they don't move SummerSlam, maybe you get NXT, SmackDown, Raw under one roof, one night. Maybe they go to the UK, and maybe you get his crowning moment there in a hometown crowd.
Really? UK?
If they don't move
No,
SummerSlam,
I know,
they
I
could.
get it, but how are they going to pull that off?
Well, they'll fly
Go to
over
Wembley.
there. Airplanes still work. Fares are so cheap right now.
When's the last time WWE did a broadcast show from a pay-per-view level show from the UK? That's what I mean.
A long time ago, 1992.
1992.
Thank you.
No, that's not true. They did.
Well, the
99, I
insurrections.
think,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
right.
it's still been a long
99.
time.
Yeah, but those insurrection shows were United Kingdom only pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Well,
folks,
not
we have
canon,
committed to
yeah.
you to
It's-
remain spoiler-free throughout WrestleMania weekend, and that means we can't talk about the other championship match. Advertises Roman Reigns versus Goldberg,
Well, we could.
but that match isn't happening.
Goldberg beats.
Well, then
beats Roman
now we
Reigns.
can talk about it, right?
Does anybody really think Goldberg's walking out with the title, no matter who he faces? Does anybody on this panel think he's walking out?
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's okay 3.
Yeah, Goldberg retains.
I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Roman's out, I'm going with Goldberg 100%.
I think we'd be going with him because I think they'd do the same thing and wait till SummerSlam and put it on Roman Reigns then.
You honestly think Goldberg's gonna?
Yeah,
Here's
yeah
the
Damien,
thing.
what do you got?
Goldberg has to win. Otherwise, his last 2 returns are absolutely junk. Because all he does is he beat Kevin Owens in like 7 seconds. Then he beats Bray Wyatt in one of the biggest upset, most frustrating matches of all time, only to drop the title at WrestleMania in 2 years. His last 2 WrestleManias. He's a transitional guy then. That means he means nothing anymore if he's just a transition champion. Let him retain at WrestleMania and then go and do business somewhere else.
Well, we'll leave it at that, folks, for the WrestleMania preview. We are at halftime here live on Prime Time, and we've got so much more to still talk about, including hot news, a preview of tonight's AEW Dynamite. They got some bad news earlier this week, as did WWE. We'll talk about that. And we also have your comments. The social media lounge will be open, and we will be reviewing and talking about more of the very active discussion on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Twitch and Fight TV as well. It is April Fool's Day. It is April 1. Which WrestleMania was this? WrestleMania 6? Maybe another one? Happened on April 1st?
There's been a few of them.
WrestleMania 18 or 19 was also on April 1st.
Exactly.
We will be back in just a few minutes, and we will bring you more of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time Live. So keep tuned in, ladies and gentlemen.
Collar and elbow bouts usually began as a contest of balance. The opening position or stance featured the hand and arm positioning which gave the wrestling style its name. Contestants faced one another, each placing one hand on his adversary's shoulder and gripping his adversary's forearm with his other hand. This establishes the opening box, prevents bull-like rushes or throat grabs, minimizes disadvantages in height or arm's reach, and prevents deft footwork. Here, the champion squares off with the challenger. Each holds the stance until his opponent forces or permits him to break.
The wait is over. All Elite Wrestling is now available on AEW Plus.
What are we seeing?
This is your chance to watch AEW Dynamite, commercial-free and live every Wednesday night.
Let's do this!
exclusively on the Fight Digital Sports television platform. AEW Plus is available in over 100 countries outside the U.S., Canada, Germany, and France. AEW Plus can be viewed on your smart TV, mobile device, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, or at Fight.tv.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Starting this month, AEW Plus will also feature every episode of AEW Dark. Download the Fight app now and join the revolution today.
About that. They were supposed to be
Welcome
down
back,
in
ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Prime time, we're live. Here it is, April Fool's Day. It's like a holiday for you, David.
The whole month of March has been April Fool's Day. It's been a complete
The whole 2020 has been April Fool's Day,
It
actually.
really has, hasn't it? Remember how
It has.
2020 started off? We were bombing Iran, and we thought that was the beginning of World War III.
Kobe died.
Who knew? Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazon fires. Kobe died.
Notre Dame burned down, too. Was
Yeah.
that this year?
I'm sure it was. Why wouldn't it have been?
Folks, we are live all over the world.
you know
We are
what?
joined by our associates as well.
Imagine the people that made 2020 their resolution that they were going to travel more this year. Could they have picked the worst year to do that?
And we are joined by Josh Chernoff and Drew Badala and the man they call Meathead. Thank you for joining us. The conversation earlier in the broadcast was all about WrestleMania, but there's more to life than WrestleMania. And before we do that, David Hero, there is more to life than just the t-shirt you're wearing right now.
It's the Collar and Elbow Pro Wrestling Collar and Elbow. Right now, there's a huge Corona Mania sale at Collar and Elbow. The collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code PWR360. Huge sale going on all weekend. Hop on. Brand new shirts being dropped. We got Tiger King or King Tiger shirts that are going on. We have the new Texas
Wait, as in
Polo
the Tiger King?
Well, it's not him because I'm sure there's, gimmick infringements and stuff, but some Tiger King themed stuff. There were no Carol shirts done, though. Because, she's just that, whatever.
You think we can get Carol Baskin on the show?
I would love to because I think she's one that's been sabotaging my mic today.
Jim Ross at In Your House, 1996, September.
She
Head Games,
sabotaged
Mind
his
Games.
mic also?
No, Vince did that.
Oh, well, I think Carol's worse than Vince. Vince never once killed his husband.
Folks, thank you for joining us. We are live all over social media and, of course, on Fight TV, where you can watch WrestleMania this weekend. That's Fight.tv. We'll be bringing you some additional programming as well. Josh has his own show on Fight TV. So says Chernoff. Josh, tell us about your current installment that is airing on Fight.
Well, my current one was me and only 2 members of my crew, and I think this month's one is going to be just me. But no, it's a monthly satirical wrestling news show, so it's like this news show, but I basically just make jokes the entire time and talk far less about actual facts and news. But no, it's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys will check it out when you're finished with this over on Fight TV. So says Chernoff. I hope you will enjoy it.
And folks, big news coming out of the wrestling world this week, and now more drama and controversy, at least within the offices of both AEW and WWE, because the governor of Florida just earlier today announced a stay-at-home order for the state of Florida, and they can deem any service essential that they want. But I don't know if they're going to deem the WWE Performance Center or the place in Jacksonville where AEW has been broadcasting as essential. The future of wrestling programming is up in the air.
Oof. It's not up in the air. It's quarantined is what it really is. I mean, there's whatever they have in the can is all they're going to have, and everyone's just going to have to sit still now for a little bit. They're going to have to just rest. Everybody wanted an off season last week. You guys are all going to get it now because I highly doubt that they're going to get a whole bunch of content going.
Andrew, you shake your head no. I typically do that when Dave talks too.
I don't want an off season. I understand everyone's safety and health and all that other stuff and what's going on. I do think the WWE might be forced into that. I think AEW taped yesterday. And I don't know how much taping they got done. So I think they might be okay for a little while. I'm not too sure on WWE. And I don't have any insight on that just because I don't know their climate. I don't know how much they've taped besides the Raw after WrestleMania from what's been out there. So I don't know about WWE.
What's the future? Go ahead, David.
Well, I'm sure there's other states that don't quite have the quarantines.
Nevada, a bunch of states up in the Dakota realm, and
So, who knows?
one or
Maybe
two southern states.
AEW might go to the Dakotas next.
Well, AEW, they've already moved to an undisclosed location, parts unknown,
Yes.
and they are, I believe, the reports are true, they taped Dynamite for tonight and for next week over the course of the last 2 days. That's only going to get them so far, though.
I heard that they were in the Peach State.
Georgia?
Yes.
I believe they're staying at home, too.
Well, of course they are.
But again, like I said, anything can be deemed as an essential service. And many things that you wouldn't think are deemed as essential services that are remain to stay open and in business are indeed doing so. So I think it's a case of who you know.
Well, at the same time, I just think everyone needs to just be aware and be safe. I don't think any of us are going to get... I'm trying to pick my words wisely here. But none of us are gonna like. Nothing bad will happen if we don't get to watch wrestling for the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Let everyone figure out what's going on. Let these guys stay home with their families. Let the people that know figure out what's going on. There's no reason to roll the dice. Put 20 or 30 people in a building and pray to God nobody coughs, spits, or sweats on somebody.
That's got to be okayed by the networks, though. They're paying a lot of money for content.
I think there's a few people that are calling the shots that have a little more stroke than any network going right now.
Oh, but I think Andrew's point is valid. They've got a contractual obligation to fill.
There we are.
How will they fill that? And the network could indeed say, okay, we get it. There won't be any new programming, but WWE and their archive programming is actually doing pretty good. ESPN's broadcast of WrestleMania 32 this past week on ESPN was their highest rated broadcast of the week. So there's opportunity. I don't think there's a long shelf life on that stuff, though. Because if I can go watch it on the network, why am I going to tune into Raw to watch WrestleMania 12?
Well, it's free if you don't have the network.
That's what I mean.
WrestleMania 12,
Yeah, true.
Right. But you also, one of the things that my good friend and colleague Calvin Tan had sent me something earlier that he saw Triple H do an interview on ESPN the other night where he claimed that WWE was essential to entertaining people during this time, which is possibly a play on words, but an excuse they would have. But the other thing is, we talked on Monday's show, we talked about how this was like a weekly episodic show and all of that for the arguments about, letting people know what's going on behind the scenes. But Hollywood shut down. You have television shows that are claiming now that they're not even it's going to be the summer before their season finales or even series finales are going to air. People just shut down all their operations. So these are people who also have heavy contracts with these networks. Look at all of the sports teams that aren't playing, So it's not like the WWE would be like everything's business as usual, and the WWE is saying, hey guys, I think we're just going to stop. They are them and AEW are the only ones left at this point. So I think they'd just be following suit with everybody else.
What can they do to that?
And that's kind of a great point, and that's kind of where I was getting at. While they do have these contractual obligations to the networks, FS1 just had the Royal Rumble a couple days ago on as well, just kind of airing. So WWE, AEW are the last two really major things that are pumping out live content over and over, regardless if they taped it a couple days before. That's brand new content. And the writer's strike is something I kind of think of that happened, 15 years ago when you had the writer's strike in Hollywood where we were out of content. We survived it. It's okay. We had other stuff to watch. But, like Walking Dead, and I assume that's what you were talking about, where their season finale will not air because of production shut down. Yeah. That's it. So we're just going to have to deal with those shows that are sitting in the can. They don't want to put on networks. We're going to get some weird shows coming up soon that are going to fill that space.
And we have lots of content on our YouTube page.
Yes, we do.
I mean, you could also go watch Jack Black dance to, music with his shirt off and his, in his shorts in his yard. So, I mean, there's content out there.
It's a hard pass for me on that one.
What about just a webcam in...
Whoops.
in Joe Exotic's jail cell?
Oh, God.
Okay.
Can we book that? Literally, Exotic Live.
Hey, apparently he's in quarantine right now.
I heard that, yes. Well, he's in jail.
Just give him some.
How are you not in
You
quarantine
know
in
what?
jail? Is that what they call
Just
it?
give him some tiger's blood and he'll be fine.
I thought they were
Tigers.
releasing like
What?
inmates statewide. So what's going on there? How come he's not out?
Oh, well, Florida is going to be one of the last states to release inmates for anything.
Is
Probably,
he in Florida?
probably smart. Probably smart.
I
Florida
thought he was
man
in
released.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I assumed it was in Florida.
Isn't it by you, Chernoff?
No, it's not by me.
What are you looking for?
Excuse me. Jeez.
I
See
saw
out my
what you
window
did there.
right
That
now.
wasn't
It's
right.
not- no,
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What did I
You
do?
really ought to be ashamed of yourself. Look, Drew, to the point of what we're seeing as far as broadcast and what wrestling programs are going to be able to present, WWE Raw didn't have its best ratings this past Monday night after seeing 2 weeks of growth from the studio shows.
No, they did a 1.9 overall, and that's pretty low for them. And it's I believe it's their worst since they've had this situation happen with the COVID-19. It was 3 good promos. Everything else was kind of just blah. And I think that they are going to have to figure something out quickly, or the ratings are going to continue to dip.
Well, AEW is live tonight with Dynamite, and Jim Ross had some comments to explain his absence from AEW. As you know, Cody Rhodes has been sitting alongside Cody, the endorsed Cody, has been sitting alongside Tony Schiavone in the last few weeks, and has been, last few episodes, and has been filling in. And he did explain, did JR, on his podcast, saying, and I quote, Tony Khan and I had a very long and thoughtful talk that he initiated. I'm an asset for that company in his view, and mine too, and he said I've got to protect you because he knows I won't protect myself. So the decision was made to stay home for a couple of days, and I'm not going to be on Dynamite this week or in next until we see where this thing is headed. He's 68, he's in a high-risk group, and he says, I don't want to die. I don't want to get the flu because my ego says I got to be on TV. He says, I can't lose my spot because I won't get my push. Well, stop, please. So, JR, revealing why we haven't seen him for the last few weeks.
And you
on
know what?
Dynamite.
Kudos to Tony Khan for making that happen, because we know JR, and JR would not just go home on his own.
No, and as he said, he's got to protect himself.
Absolutely. You know what's interesting though? Remember when WWE switched their camera and they just showed the entrance, and everyone said, "Wow, they're copying AEW."
Like Ring of Honor's been doing for years?
And then Cody Rhodes comes out and does commentary after Triple H does it. No one says anything.
Wait a minute. What?
I'm just saying.
You know,
So
you
having
know
a
the world we
wrestler
live
on
in.
commentary is
Come on.
copying?
I'm just saying it's like the two
Well,
figureheads.
no, you're digging.
No,
You're
no,
jabbing.
no, it's the two figureheads.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
sure.
I
But
mean,
has
before
Triple H done
AEW
commentary
did
since that initial SmackDown?
Oh, he's done it a couple times.
There's a thread there. I mean, we're pulling on it. There is a thread there, but
You can pull out whatever you want. Leave my thread alone.
and not in front of
Okay.
this camera. I'm not.
That was the MSG hard cam too. Let's all not forget about that for many years.
Well, yeah, because where else were they going to shoot?
But they also
They could have
AEW
put the hard cam by the MSG entrance.
No.
Well, I'm saying that
That,
when
that was
WWE
back
did
before the
television
big sets and whatnot, when
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
did used to
then
come down the little
WWE
aisle.
Mhm.
And WWE's
Yeah,
gone back and
WWE
forth in whether in stage setup or in the round, if you will, with their camera positioning. But yeah, look, nobody's copying nobody. We said weeks ago, during this time,
Exactly. Yeah.
there's no criticism. There's no hell. They should be. Could you imagine if the wrestling world, the corporate wrestling world, banded together right now and brought us a mega show, or
Like Super
brought us-
Clash.
Super Clash 3 from right here in Milwaukee?
No. Super Clash. It was the AWA, World Class, Mid South, all the other territories that were left from when Vince took over everything. They all put together a big show out in the Meadowlands. Isn't
Yeah.
that right, Drew? You
Yeah,
may not have
but
been born
there's
then.
your answer right there. Who wasn't a part of that show? The WWE.
Yeah.
So, more in the TV news, and I think, Drew, you have the details on this, but WWE has already canceled all of their April events, joining the lines of New Japan Pro Wrestling, obviously AEW as well. They're holding out hope for May, but a lot of big businesses are now pushing their relaunches, if you will, well into May, if not later. In fact, Wimbledon, I believe, was canceled today for the first time since World War II. There is no end in sight for this situation.
No, and once you cancel Wimbledon and the Masters and the Final Four and WrestleMania, you're just going to have to keep taking precaution after precaution after precaution, and I think the WWE will probably not see a live event until June the earliest. That's a prediction. So, not a spoiler like Paul Heyman says, but prediction.
What did the NBA say? Anybody catch that news? I think that they're going to be extending or doing the finals later, or the NFL maybe. One of the major sports leagues had news today.
The only thing that's going to happen right now is the NFL draft, because they could do that without being in a congregated place with people. They could do that from different war rooms. But yes, the NHL and the NBA. What was that?
He'll get there. He's pulling his shirt off right now.
Yeah, the NBA and the NHL are going to extend their season. They're talking about finishing their regular season and then having a playoffs, or jumping into the exact matchups right now, and that would be later on in the summer. So yes.
Folks, we talked earlier about WrestleMania.
Well detailed.
Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
What? No.
No, you're right. That's exactly what it was. It was well thought out, well detailed.
Yes, exactly. By the way, Gruss512, spoiler about Walking Dead. Rick didn't die, so I don't know what you're talking about.
You said that?
How do you have time? How do you have time to read the comments?
Well, you were talking for quite a while.
I laid that one up for you.
Folks, last night, AEW presented, not AEW, I'm sorry, Vice TV presented a new edition of Dark Side of the Ring. This time their focus was on New Jack, David Hero, and we knew a lot, but didn't know that much.
I did not get a chance to fully watch the whole thing yet, so please don't spoil it, but I've only heard the reviews and some of the comments, and it's definitely must watch.
Maybe you get a chance to check out Dark Side with New Jack.
Come on, Meathead.
I have not yet. No, I was planning to watch it tonight.
It's sitting there waiting to be watched. I just haven't got to it yet. But New Jack is he's a special dude, and I don't say special in a special way.
Yeah, and still around. And New Jack, of course, made famous in ECW. He is infamous in the wrestling business.
He was in Smoky Mountain also.
Was he really?
Yeah,
with Cornette.
With Cornette.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's where
Cornette
got big.
put up with.
Cornette had the gangsters originally.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Dark Side of the Ring, though, continues, and we know that they're going to be doing an episode on Owen Hart later on this year as well, or later on this season as well, and that should be very interesting. In fact, we got a quote from the producer, Eric Husney, on the Owen Hart episode, who says, and I quote, "You're going to learn a lot. I can just say in terms of the perspective that's going to be shared from the family, from their point of view. We're still putting the final touches on the Owen episode now, but it's shaping up to be something truly special. And I think that this definitely is going to be something that feels new in terms of perspective." Now that, of course, 1999 in Kansas City, that tragic situation with Owen Hart, the rift between the WWE and the Hart family was strong, and different people handled it different ways, but I always felt there was more to be told about that story, because we've only gotten the WWE perspective. In fact, I think as part of the settlement, the family wasn't able to speak or didn't want to speak shortly after the incident occurred. Now later, Bret Hart would return to WWE, and things would seemingly be fixed a bit, but I think there's still some heat there.
A ton of heat. And that's why I can't wait to watch this episode, because it's going to be I don't want to say the pro Hart side, but it's going to be the pro Hart side of this entire story.
Pro Hart or just neutral?
No, it's Martha Hart hasn't talked about this at all.
Yeah.
So for her to finally say her piece, it's going to be very interesting to see how this whole thing is being put together and produced.
So here's a great question, and I didn't actually think that this was not the case yet, but Cristobal Ward, Owen Hart should be in the Hall of Fame, and the family needs to get over it. It was a tragedy, but it's time we honor this man.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Oh.
At least the first part of that. Should Owen be in the Hall of Fame? How do you do that?
How do you get? I just get over it. You don't.
I don't
first
think
of
you
all.
can.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, should Owen? Of course. I mean, he was an amazing talent. But
Yeah.
the family doesn't want that, so he's not going to go in. So let the family have say in their husband, father, son, uncles, the way he's going to be.
Yeah, when
remembered.
you say family, I think it's more so his late wife or his wife, correct?
His immediate family, yes.
So like you were saying, it can't happen. You're talking about, I think there's Drew said that, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about it can't happen without the permission of his
Right. I think
family.
he's a tremendous performer, and he deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The only problem here is that his wife doesn't want anything to do, as she's made blatantly evident, with the WWE. And I like, David and Damian said, I cannot wait for this side of the story, because realistically, all we got was the WWE side, and she's remained silent for a very long time. Just like the Benoit and Guerrero, I mean, that documentary on Dark Side of the Ring was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. And I think also, Martha Hart, she wrote a book at one point, but I don't think that at that time books weren't necessarily like, the wrestling books that were coming out didn't necessarily tell all the story or the facts. And I think it was also a little fresh at the time. So I think we'll get a lot more information detail. But I think Owen Hart absolutely is a Hall of Famer, whether he is enshrined in the WWE Hall of Fame or not. He's one of the best of all time from a character standpoint, from an in-ring standpoint. And I think had he retired that night as opposed to have died, he would be a Hall of Famer based on his career alone. So, I mean, but I agree at the same time of his wife. I mean, we're all fans. We all, felt a connection to him, but his wife was his wife. That's if she doesn't want him in there, you can't argue that.
And we do want to clarify comments from Cristobal Ward. He says, and this is fair, I did not mean it in a bad way, like get over. What I mean is get over the deal with the WWE and let them honor it. My apologies if my comment came off in poor taste, but that was not my intention. We do appreciate that. Thank you for clarifying that. But folks, speaking of our fans and speaking of the lounge, we appreciate all of you who have interacted with us here live tonight. Remember, we're live again tomorrow night with Inside Story of Wrestling. Our guest, one half of Demolition Smash, Barry Darso. It's going to be a show that you definitely want to tune in to hear the insights of what really went on with Demolition and why they are not yet in the WWE Hall of Fame. That tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m. right here on Fight. But it's time to honor the superfans from our Monday broadcast, those who engaged most socially with us on our social media channels and on YouTube. The award goes to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling, the winner on YouTube. That's a bold name.
Everything?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. And on Twitter, Tim Berry gets the nod. Thank you for engaging with us on Twitter at PWR360. And on Facebook, in fact, the person we just talked about who had to clarify his comments, Cristobal Ward, our top social engager on Facebook this past Monday night. David Hero, they won a prize.
They do. They're going to win the Collar and Elbow PWR gift pack. And there's a lot of really cool gimmicks in there. I'm not going to tell you what it is because some of it is unreleased. But all you got to do is send an email to superfan@pwr360.com. Just email your name, address, and we will get the stuff out to you.
Name and address.
Name and address.
Name and address.
Well, yeah, because sometimes they just put the name down. And then where are we going to send it to? And then Cal has to email them back and ask them for the address, and then it just gets lost in translation sometimes.
Congratulations, and tonight Superfans will be revealed on Friday's live broadcast right before Smackdown of PWR Primetime Live. Right in just a few minutes, I almost said right now, but it's not, in just 2 minutes time, it's a brand new episode of AEW Dynamite tonight.
And let's not forget NXT.
I always actually do forget
You do always
NXT.
forget. You know what? Be fair. Be fair.
What do you mean be fair? I'm always
NXT,
fair and balanced.
they're having their takeover matches.
This week or next, starting April 1st, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, AEW has a big tournament starting as well next week.
It's
they announced the brackets.
It's the big Tiger tournament. You're going to put 18 guys in a cage. And then
Drew, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we learned about that AEW TNT Championship tournament that started with the announcement of some of the participants last night on AEW Dark?
Yeah, so Mr. Hero, I know you'd like to see 18, but it's 8. And it's Sammy Guevara, it's Cody, it's Sean Spears, and I believe the last, I'm drawing
Darby Allin.
Fourth. Darby Allin, there you go. They are the first 4 in for the TNT Championship. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's coincidental timing with the whole NXT doing their takeover, but I think that AEW needed a secondary major title, and they got it. I'm looking forward to it.
Folks, we've got less than 1 minute remaining in the show. We're going to go a little bit into both AEW and NXT, so thank you for that, because we do still have to talk about one thing, which is, David Hero, you said Darby Allin was a good choice I think you said maybe one of the other gentlemen was a good choice for that championship.
Well, I don't know if it was me. I'm sure it was one of these other guys, but absolutely.
That's his line he uses when he wakes up in the morning.
It wasn't me.
I'm sure it was one of the other guys.
Hey now.
I mean, Darby Allin is obviously a fan favorite. I could absolutely see him winning, but the guy that I think should have been in there is the Drunken Cowboy, and let him be the tag champ and the new TNT champ.
They have 4 more spots. He could be.
Well, that tournament starts next Wednesday. Brackets, I believe, for the other 8 participants are announced tonight on Dynamite, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it starts tonight.
The tournament starts tonight? I thought it started April 8th.
I don't think it starts tonight.
It starts April 8th. Didn't
Hold
you
on,
watch
hold
the
on.
show you were on Monday?
It's next week.
I was sworn it starts tonight.
I'm going to
But I
go
could be
bold,
wrong.
and I'm going to pick Sammy Guevara to take it all.
There you go.
You got Darby?
All right.
No,
I got
don't.
Sammy.
I want the Drunken Cowboy.
If I keep repeating that you have Darby,
Sure.
would that make it true?
Absolutely. If that's what you want to have happen.
Gentlemen, what are you looking forward to on AEW and or NXT tonight? We'll start with you, Meathead.
I'm hoping to see some more of the Broken One, Matt Hardy. I'm hoping to see some Vanguard One, and just keep that moving on.
Andrew?
Brody Lee, Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And Joshua Shernoff.
I agree. Brody Lee, Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy. I also have a podcast called Mind of the Meanie. Go subscribe to that. See how I just got that in there?
I see how you got that in there, and I'm glad you did, but we were going to ask you to share with us as well. Tell us about your tie this week
Now I feel like a jerk. What's that?
Tell us about your tie for
tie.
tonight.
Oh, my tie. This is my AEW Dynamite, Stick of Dynamite tie. And yes, the show is Mind of the Meanie. Go to @Mind of the Meanie, and you can. It's live. It's available now, and you can subscribe on iTunes and anywhere that you get your podcast. We've got some really good reviews. I mean, not Pro Wrestling Report level, but we're getting there.
Hey, and you're also available on Google Play now, I believe.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you very much.
Well, folks, AEW has started. NXT has started, and we are not competition for them, so we are going to go off your air here shortly. But we will be with you again tomorrow night for Inside Story of Wrestling. We'll be back again Friday with a brand new edition of PrimeTime Live, and also Friday night after Smackdown, we will be live with PWR Reaction. And we're going to do that all weekend long, David Hero.
I can't wait. We're going to be up all
You're going to have to
night.
wait.
I've been waiting for the last 2.5 weeks to do something.
All right, folks. Enjoy AEW. Enjoy NXT. Keep those comments coming, whether it be on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitter as well. And subscribe and like the show as well. Help us out. And remember, you can order WrestleMania on Fight TV. Just go to fight.tv, and you can enjoy WrestleMania there if you're not a WWE Network subscriber and looking for ways to watch the show on the go. For Josh Shernoff, the man they call Meathead, and Andrew Baydala, this is Damian Nelson for that one. Saying thank you so much for joining us here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Live. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night live when Barry Darsow joins us for Inside Story of Wrestling. Farewell, everyone. We'll see you next time here on Primetime.